All right. Today we're diving in how to write emails that are going to boost sales. Because yes, you want to write emails to grow your relationship with your tribe, build trust with your subscribers, but you also want to make some money, honey. So let's dive into some strategies and some tips that are going to really support you in creating revenue through the emails that you are writing. Now, this is the last video of this particular email marketing series. But the good news is that if you have not watched the other videos in this series, I highly suggest that you go back and do that, because I dive into A to Z email marketing, all the questions that come up that will really support you in creating strong emails that will connect with your audience and again, allow you to make money through this process. Because at the end of the day, you're in business and that's what you get to do. You get to make impact, but you also get to generate income. So be sure to check out this playlist. And if you're just getting started in email marketing and you don't even have your system set up in place, I'm going to encourage you to go down to the description below and check out my Launch Your List series, because I'm going to walk you through step by step, click by click, how to launch your email marketing system in less than 60 minutes. So be sure to do that if you don't already have your tools in place, so that you can go through this training series and actually apply as you go. By the way, my name is Jen Johnson. I'm a high-performance Christian business coach here to help you turn your purpose into profit, creating content and digital products that will help you go out there and impact the world, leaving your own special dent in the universe. So be sure to subscribe, like, hit the bell, so you and I can hang out here every single week, because there is so much more to come. So there's a lot of different elements that you want to consider when creating a new email and actually sending out a message to your subscriber base. So I'm going to dive in and give you some tips and strategies that you can take with you into the future emails that you're writing. But first and foremost, numero uno is always ask yourself, what is your intention? At the end of this email, by the time someone reads this email at the very end, what do I want them to leave feeling? What do I want them to take action on? So that way you know what you're going to be talking about in the email and make it relevant to what it is you're wanting them to do next. So you always want to reverse engineer any process. What is the result or the outcome you want to see take place once someone reads your email? Is that going over to your blog post, or listening to your latest podcast, or watching your latest YouTube video? Whatever it is, it could be leading people to an offer. You got to be very clear on what you want people to do, because I know it can be frustrating to think, oh my gosh, nobody's interacting or taking action. But if you're not telling them to, they're not gonna do it. So you want to make sure you have that intention in mind and that you're very specific and clear in the messaging, so that you have a message that is relevant to your call to action. So the second thing is subject lines matter. That is the first thing someone sees before they actually open your email. So you want to really pique curiosity or grab attention by creating a subject line that is going to get people to want to open the email and see what the heck you're talking about, so that they actually read it and then they can go into taking that action. So I actually did an entire video on subject lines, how to create killer subject lines to really get people opening up the emails, because the cool thing about email marketing is that everybody you send an email to is going to get it in their inbox. There's no algorithm, right? So it's cool that it's there, but the next step is to get them to actually read it. So check out that video if you're in need of some really good ideas for your subject lines. Now, the third step to this is that you want to be relatable. When someone actually clicks on your email because you have such an awesome subject line and they go to read it, you want to create rapport, empathy, and understanding. Meet your reader where they're at. It's very important that you know what they're currently going through, what their challenge is, what their pain point is, what their struggle is, and you're creating content that's going to support them in their journey. So make sure that you're grabbing attention by creating the bulk of the email, starting out in a space where you're going to create a message that has them thinking, oh my gosh, this person totally gets where I'm at, so that they want to keep reading, so that they want to take that action when you get to that point. One of the ways that I love to do this is by just sharing life moments. Recently in an email, I talked about how my daughter had a school project that we were working on, and we were using clay modeling, and that was just a catastrophe. And so we ended up completely just ditching that entire project, throwing that clay model in the trash because it just was falling apart. The limbs were falling apart. It just wasn't working. And that is a great example that I get to use to say, is there something in your business that you just need to toss because it's just taking up more energy, more time? You'd be better off just really starting from scratch, creating a clean new slate, because you're putting all your energy into something that is no longer working for you, and it's time to just pivot. So thinking of life events and things that go on in your life that could be a mirror or something that is a metaphoric type approach to sharing a lesson, sharing a tip. This is a great way to create engagement, to build trust, because you're letting people in on actual things going on in your life, but you're tying that topic or that actual lesson you learned in that situation back to a lesson that is going on in your world, in your niche, in your market space. So that is a really great strategy to play around with that I encourage you to try out. Now, you've heard this one 1,000 times, but another way that you can start to generate sales and lead people to your offers is through telling stories. Facts tell, stories sell, as you know. So anytime you can share a story, whether it's your own personal story or you're sharing a story of someone else's, you want to inspire, because the reality is most people do make decisions when it comes to buying emotionally. It's not the way I suggest to make a buying decision, but the reality is a lot of people do. So when you can tug on heartstrings and you can really share something that someone can relate with, and not as a shady way of doing it, but you want to actually share stories because people sometimes need that inspiration or need to build that belief up, and the way that they can do that is finding hope in other people's stories. So think of stories that you can share, or actual stories from other, clients and customers, that you could talk about, so that way you can create that inspiration. Now that obviously leads into the next step, where you want to share testimonials and results as well. So there's a difference between telling a story about where someone was and how they came to discover a product or use your service, and it changed, the whole trajectory of their life or their business or whatever that looks like, but actually sharing testimonials of people talking about like how your product works and the results, the specific results it created for them, is also very, very powerful. So you can always share testimonials, case studies, and those types of content inside of your emails to really support people in making the next best decision, whether they want to purchase your product or work with you, whatever that looks like. Now, here's where some people can get this messed up. When you're writing an email to create more sales, you want to focus on one thing. Don't put 100 different links to different things, 5 different calls to action, because a confused mind does absolutely nothing. So if you're trying to put a link to your blog post, a link to your offer, a link to a video, a link to this, a link to my group. Now look, it's good to give people a lot of options. When I'm on these YouTube videos, I like to tell you to go watch other things and check out the description below and subscribe and do all that jazz. But when you're trying to make an offer and you really want to focus on sales, you don't want to have options in place where people can click on the free thing, or they can click on the thing that they got to buy, because what do you think they're going to click on? So you want to make sure that when you're creating a sales email, that you're focused on that one call to action. And really with any email, you don't want to have a ton of different things going on, because again, if people have too many options in front of them, they just don't know what to do next, and so they move on. So just be very cognizant of how many different calls to action you're including, and if it is a sales email, that you are focusing on that one actual call to action. Now that leads me to my next tip, where yes, you must create a call to action. It is so imperative that you are creating calls to action in whatever it is that you're doing, including a post, including an email, including a video, including a podcast. You always want to be telling people what to do next, because if you just give information, but then you leave them hanging, it's like, well, that was good information, but if you don't tell people what to do, they're not going to do it. So you want to create a call to action. I actually have an entire video around calls to action that I'll put up here as well. Yes, I'm linking you to something else right now, but this is going to support you in what I'm talking about. And you want to really learn how to create strong calls to action. So a quick tip for you when it comes to creating calls to action is to be clear and direct. Do not sugarcoat it. Do not try to get all flowery and fancy with your words by, creating a random hyperlink that says, if you're kind of interested or want to learn more. No, you want to say, hey, you need this, buy it here. You want to be very, very direct in what it is that you're saying and have some confidence and authority to know that, gosh, it's going to be a disservice if they don't take the next step, if they don't move to the next level and want to check out the program, product, or service. So you want to create very specific wording that is going to say, click here, enroll now, register today, save your seat, like very, very direct. Don't try to sugarcoat it or be fancy with your words. You always want to be clear, because clear trumps clever. And it's giving people a strong call to action, because when you tell them exactly what to do and they understand it, again, they're going to do it. But if you're trying to make it sound cute and fancy and make it fluffy, then it doesn't hold its merit as much. So be sure to be clear and direct and to the point, and trust yourself. You get to make these offers, you get to create these calls to action, because it's a disservice if people can't work with you further. Now, not to pick on anybody, but when I hear people say consider subscribing, I'm like,
no, don't consider subscribing. I want you to subscribe. Like, hit the bell, subscribe, let's hang out. I'm not going to tell you to consider it. I want you here with me every week, so I'm going to tell you what to do.
There's some authority for you. All right, now the next tip is, I don't know what number we're on, but you want to write more than one email about your offer. Look, it's easy to get discouraged to try something once and it doesn't work. But the reality is, you and I both know that it's going to take more than one time of someone seeing something for them to make a decision. So do not hesitate when you're in a promotional mode, when you're making an offer, when the launch is happening, when open enrollment is here. You gotta go crazy, and it's gonna honestly feel like you're making a ton of offers, and you might even feel like, oh my gosh, I'm bugging people. But the reality is not every single person is seeing it. And you want to ensure that you're giving as much opportunity as possible for people to say yes. So don't just write one email making the offer, write another email and make a post and do a live and point people to whatever it is that they need to see to support them in making this really important decision on whether they're going to move forward with you or not. So don't hesitate, don't hold back, really craft different types of emails, because you're dealing with a lot of different personalities too. So some people like to really just be told what to do. Here's what to do next. Some people are analytical. So you need to give them like really step by step, like this is what the process is going to look like, or this is what it is that you do. So you want to handle all the objections of someone who wants to know all the facts and the details. You also want to give supporting answers to people who would object that are, more on the fun side and or more supportive and really like just unsure of how to actually make a decision. So writing these different style emails and creating offers in different ways is going to support in boosting your sales, because it's going to give more people opportunity to resonate with a specific message, because one may work for some people, one may work for another. So just keep that in mind when you are creating your sales emails. The other thing that is really imperative to boosting sales when writing emails is you want to be consistently growing your list. Now, I know this is not a direct, tip to creating sales, but it kind of is, because if you don't have new people constantly coming onto your email list to read your emails, eventually the list can grow stagnant. I mean, you can only, if it's a year later and you're still making the same offer to the same people and they're just not there yet, it's limiting your capacity to be able to generate new revenue because you're not allowing more people to see it. You're not putting it in front of new eyes. So you want to create a plan and a strategy for how you're going to be growing your email list as well. And of course, I have a video to support you with that where I talk about email growth strategies, so you can check that out and focus on a strategic plan for how you're going to continue to grow your email list so that you always have new people to put your sales emails in front of. Now, let me give you a bonus tip, and this is just one of my favorite things that I love to do. I study emails. I read people's emails. And not only do I read them, I go back through the emails or through the sales pages or through whatever I've personally invested in. I study those things as a marketer, because no matter what niche you're in, you gotta get marketing. You got to understand how to put an offer in front of people so that they want to say yes. So I look at what made me say yes. What was the one line or the one button or the one video or the one email that had me say yes to a product? You want to be a student of that. So think of a few people where you really love their writing style, you love reading their emails, like you resonate with them, or think of who your audience would resonate with if they were on a specific person's list. Go get on their email list and start being a student of studying copywriting, studying emails, and studying the strategies, and read the emails, and what really, even if you don't buy the product, but you want to buy the product, like what is the thing that's getting you to want to say yes? So that is one of the best ways to just really get into the work, is to study the work itself. There's no better way to really grow your skill set in this area than to just see it in action, see other people doing it, and see what it is that makes you tick. So that is a bonus for you, is to really don't hesitate to subscribe to email lists and study. So at this point, you should be fired up, ready to go, ready to build your email list and create profit from the emails that you're writing. Again, if you don't already have your email marketing tools in place, be sure to go below to check out the Launch Your List training series I've created just for you, where I share the exact tools I use. You can use whatever tools you want, but these are the ones I use when I train and show you how to get your email marketing system set up, get everything talking to each other, because I know the thing that holds people back most is tech. They're unsure of how to actually technically create this stuff. And so I want you to get that out of the way so that you can focus on your vision, your mission, and making the biggest impact possible on your tribe by growing your list and delivering value and offers to them that they want to say heck yes to. So this entire playlist on this YouTube channel will support you with that. If you want to go back and watch those videos, I suggest you do. Dive in and set up your email marketing system. It takes less than 60 minutes for you and I to do that. And also, again, be sure to subscribe and hit the bell, because I have so much more to deliver. I'm going to be starting a brand new a series on Facebook groups for business and how to use them to build your brand awareness, to build your influence, to step up as a leader inside of groups you either run or groups you join. And so be sure to stay tuned for that. And to do a deeper dive into that topic, you can always head into my private Facebook community, Your Creator's Corner, where you can join 1,000 other Christian entrepreneurs in the journey of growing your faith and your business together. And that's all I wrote, friend. As always, keep the faith, impact the world. God bless, and I'll see you soon. I feel bald if my hair is not to the side in a ponytail.